Our next speaker is Arnav Rastogi. Holding value is his mission. His words, actions, and career are all about bringing value to the table. Arnav Rastogi is a freshman majoring in finance at Boston College. He has been analyzing financial markets since 2019, including writing research articles with over 100,000 plus readership, even sitting at company earnings calls, asking thought-provoking questions to industry leaders. It all accumulates in his large investment portfolio, which is branded at Northwest Research. Outside of finance, his passion for sports led him to start a football podcast called the Backfield Rift, which has crossed 1,200 listeners. He also was the captain of his fencing team in high school, which he led the boys squad to their second straight third place finish in the state. Wherever Arnav goes, his words hold value. His speech title is Crypto, a Divisive Sport. Crypto has been at the top of the town for quite a while now. I hope to learn a bit more about it, hopefully gain some new perspective. Let's welcome Arnav to the stage.
When I went to my college orientation in Boston, I booked an Uber from the airport and met my driver, Anton. Everyone has a different personality when they enter the Uber. Some love to talk with the driver. Others, like me, just looking to get from point A to point B, minding our own business. At first, Antonio asked me questions that anyone would. What are you doing in Boston? College orientation. What college are you going to? Boston College. What major are you in? Finance. So, do you learn about investments and how to grow your money? Yeah, I do. This completely changed the complexion of the conversation. Antonio went on to tell me how he was a first-generation immigrant from Brazil who learned the hard way that creating a strong financial foundation was the key to success, especially in a country like America. He also wanted to pass something on to his children, whether it was in the form of property or trust. But first, he needed to find a way to grow his money. And so he turned to the hottest thing on the market, crypto. Crypto is a digital asset. Think gold or silver, except it's not backed by a government or a currency. Instead, it trades on hype, the news, while people think about it, making it extremely hard to value, but nevertheless popular amongst many. Antonio had invested $10,000 of his hard-earned money, luring people around the city of Boston into various forms of cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, most popular, Ethereum, the second most popular, and meme coins, cryptocurrencies literally made out of jokes. If he had sold at their peak, Antonio would have turned that $10,000 investment into 85 grand. And he wasn't the only one experiencing a sea of green in his accounts. Many people were. In fact, crypto was heralded as an equalizing force. It showed corporate America and the top 1% that they weren't the only ones who could navigate complex financial markets. Even their average American could. Bitcoin itself was founded by an average group of people in Japan looking to make digital assets a reality. By the people, for the people. But the mood in the car quickly turned somber when Antonio described the deep losses he was currently seeing. And in this too, he was in the same boat as many. Over 50% of Bitcoin investors are currently seeing red in their accounts, a number that inflates to 85% when we look at the entire crypto market and the 1/5 of coins that have hit a value of 0. So what happened to this once cherished equalizing force? Crypto was supposed to level the playing field, but instead, the equity it sought to bring to the investing world was nowhere to be found. And it begs the question, what was the tipping point that made Antonio's story so commonplace? Well, over 50% of people started investing in crypto because they were recommended to by a friend. And when they opened an account and started investing, they didn't start small. In fact, the average starting amount was just north of $1,000. People are jumping right into something that they have no clue about. They're investing money without understanding when they're going to make it back or where it's even going in the first place. People are blindly following their friends, taking that jump of faith that their parents so warned them against years ago. If your friend jumps off a cliff, are you going to too? Yeah, you already know. But before we start playing the blame game and pointing fingers, we need to look at how crypto is culturally seen. The word itself holds such powerful connotations of wealth and luxury. We attach it to almost everything and anything. Crypto millionaire, crypto billionaire, yacht parties in the Mediterranean, or clubbing in Miami. And it's these subtle word choices that we're starting to see the consequences of in our daily lives. Just look at the dating world, where 33% of women are more likely to go on a date with a man who mentions crypto in his dating profile. 33%. And why is that? Because crypto means wealth. Wealth means financial security. And let's admit it, guys, women tend to want a man who's financially secure. Even the social media apps we open on a daily basis. Crypto scams have flourished. Many of us have seen these fake crypto accounts, fake investment scores, profit and loss statements. This likely means that user has been hacked. They received a DM talking about how much money they could make off of crypto, and broke, immature teens, being broke, immature teens, gave their account information away. It's these psychological attacks on our youth that is the reason that 1 in every $4 invested in crypto comes from scam money. But the biggest scam of them all is happening at a far higher level. It involves men like Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk. And no, it's not some international money laundering scheme. It's perfectly legal. You see, when men like those say that they're investing billions of dollars into crypto, they're working with money they can afford to lose. They can take on that risk while having the investing discipline to sell when it goes up 20% or down 10%. But we saw this as the global green light. Surely if they are investing in the same thing as us, if we must be doing something right, crypto must be the next big thing. The only difference is that they're experimenting with money they can lose. You're experimenting with livelihoods on the line. We have glorified crypto as a majestic money-making tree, when in reality, people don't even know what they're talking about. When in reality, most people are losing money on crypto. When in reality, crypto isn't making us powerful. It's making us powerless. Crypto has transformed from an investment vehicle to an ideal, spreading like an epidemic. Companies are trying to transform cryptocurrencies into a type of fast money that we can use for everyday things. I mean, just how absurd does it sound that you could soon pay your weekly groceries or your monthly bills with Bitcoin? Our society was not built for something we know this little about to become this widespread. We are not ready for something so volatile. There is, however, a collective understanding that there needs to be change. There is a need for transparency in our institutions. But how is diving into the murky waters of crypto the answer? For this, we need to take a step back and look at blockchain technology, the very foundation upon which crypto is built on. Blockchain technology acts like an Apple AirTag that can digitally track all transactions for companies, governments, and organizations alike. Anything and everything is traceable, and transactions can become anything you want them to be. Let's look at voting. In 2020, we experienced one of the most egregious violations of voter transparency in both the history of the US and the world. A problem that we may never have to face again with the use of the blockchain. Consider every vote casted as a transaction. Votes would anonymously be sent to a public server where they would be securely verified and available for anyone to see. With the help of this technology, we can clearly see what larger institutions are doing while restoring trust in our officials and preventing the chance for fraud or suspicious activity. Its standardization is pivotal, whether we're trying to prevent future recessions or create stability in our own society. Change, especially when dealing with something like billions of dollars or something as delicate as a First Amendment right, needs to be extremely methodical. We need to be sure that the implementation of something will not become a detriment later on down the line. I'm sure many of us here are exercising and looking to get fit. But on day one, did you go to the gym and start lifting 50-pound dumbbells? No. Instead, it started with the neighborhood walk, dieting, creating a rigorous schedule. And then you finally went to the gym and started exercising. It's a process. With blockchain technology, we can forecast how it will work for the greater good. A process that was not possible with crypto. But this is more big picture. Let's look at the day-to-day. It's no secret that many of us here are tempted by crypto. Maybe it's our friends. Maybe it's the news. Maybe it's the fact that crypto is always talked about in a good way. In a world where 85% of people are losing money on crypto, it is described to us as if 85% of people are making money on it. And we should have expected this. If someone gets fired from their job, they don't make a LinkedIn post about it. But if they get hired from a big name company, that post will be sure to find your feed somehow, some way. But despite these risks, people will naturally still be curious. I mean, after all, it's crypto, one of the most talked about things in the world. And what better way to experiment than through the action of investing yourself? But what if I told you you could do this without any of the risk? What if I told you that you could be just like Jack Dorsey or Elon Musk? Crypto simulators allow you to trade fake online money into real-time crypto markets. They act like a bungee cord, guiding you down the cliff instead of you jumping off into the unknown. And the icing on the cake is that it's a resource that can be accessed by anyone, anywhere, and anytime. No matter if you're a company executive that just received a multi-million-dollar bonus or an Uber driver living paycheck to paycheck. And whether you make or lose money on it, you'll be sure to gain some knowledge. But beyond learning about crypto, we first must learn to value. Many of us in this room have enough money that we wouldn't care about losing 2 or 3% of it. But it seems that we have forgotten the importance of wealth. When I heat up my 12 bagel bites every Tuesday, my mom always reaches in to grab it, and I could care less. I have one more left to eat. But when the amount of bagel bites dwindles down to just 2, and my mom tries to grab in and get one, my hands immediately become Iron Dome. Because I want to taste every last bit of melty cheese and salty sauce before I have to wait another week to reheat them and eat them again. This is the meaning of value. Having too much of something distorts your perception of value. It is only when we begin to value our money and understand the power that wealth holds will we realize that certain investments simply aren't worth our time.
First, good job, a very complex topic, and you're able to present to us. I admire for that because not many people can understand, what you're trying to tell and everything. For that, good job, right? And you also gave me a great data point about dating and crypto. I own a lot of crypto, but I'm trying to figure out the relations. Nothing happened. That's a different story. So let me ask you this question, right? Anything new that comes, there's going to be bad actors on it, right? That's natural, right? Anything happens, almost like a gambling or use it for the wrong thing. So what is your view? Like you focus more on the risk on crypto and the wrong things it's being used, and a little bit on what it can actually do the right thing. But what's your final message? The wrong things will always happen. The regulators will come in and they got to clean it up, right? But what's your view on the future of this?
Education is key. Sachi Keshav talked about education for mental health issues. But for finance as well, we need to educate people about what they're getting into before they start investing money. Crypto has developed what I call a cult following. People listen to social media influencers talking about crypto and simply put money into it. Financial investments aren't something that social media influencers need to be talking about. It's something financial professionals need to be talking about. And because it's developed such a cult following, it is culturally impacting our children, teenagers, young adults, and especially young men in college who just want to make a pretty penny. We need to educate ourselves before we get into something. Especially with, on Instagram stories, people will be talking about promoting crypto, buy Ethereum, buy Bitcoin. There needs to be some level of disclaimer there. Do it at your own risk. Because without that, we can get in a boatload of trouble.
Arnav, thank you. Very thought-provoking. Again, a very intriguing topic as well. So a couple of things here. One is, I don't know if you've heard of the tulip bloom in the Netherlands in 1600, 1700. People would buy tulips and price used to be bid up and finally faded away in a reasonable span of time. The only difference is there was not the pervasive social media that we have here to influence a lot of people, some of them were gullible. So kind of building on what Ram just said, what is being done to counter sort of these perceptions and the public? I mean, it extends beyond crypto, right? Even on the meme stock, people have been doing that. So it's not only confined to crypto. People's minds are very malleable; they get influenced. So do you think this needs to start? The education that we talk about needs to start in schools. I don't know the right answer here, but where does it actually start? That's financial responsibility. Because if you look at large financial institutions, they have to put all those disclaimers around, financial responsibility, where it begins, market risk, and all those disclaimers. With crypto, it's unregulated. So where is the buck stop? Where's the onus?
So let's take Robinhood as an example. I think Robinhood is a great place to start because a lot of people use it to just trade meme stocks, trade cryptocurrencies. And what Robinhood did to alleviate regulator concerns was they put a bunch of videos they said, here's some information on investing, right? So that they can claim to the regulators that we're doing enough to educate our population. There's one thing lacking though. They don't understand how deep crypto is culturally rooted in our society. It is so deep that there's only a few things that we can do about it. One, we can start in school. My accounting teacher is actually starting a course next year about cryptocurrency, where she educates people about what cryptocurrency is in the first semester. In the second semester, she moves on to blockchain technology. She talks about the technology and the ways crypto can actually be used instead of people just throwing money at it. So it starts in schools, but I think regulators also have a big thing to do with it. When I'm part of a forum called Wall Street Bets, I joined it because I was interested to see the way people act, why people want to invest in meme coins, and why people love cryptocurrencies. And they do it in a radical way, in such a way that the only place that we can stop it is through SEC regulations and large corporations like Instagram and Facebook starting to take any mention of Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any sort of coin more seriously. So on one end, we can start in our schools, but on another end, regulators need to up their game and start paying more attention to things that are just flying.
Thank you.
Very good. Good presentation. A little too old to care about dating apps and whether I have Bitcoins and it attracts somebody. 46 years married here, so the same woman. So, but I am interested in this blocking, and to me, I've always known that 85% were losing money, so I had zero interest in Bitcoin. But to me, my initial understanding of it was that you couldn't trace it; that it was untraceable. And now you're talking about blocking technology. Are you a proponent of tracing Bitcoin? And
So
am I hearing that?
Yeah, so it's not about tracing Bitcoin. It's about the technology that Bitcoin was built on. Its applications are robust. There was a really cool piece where Defiance ETF's CIO on CNBC publicly called out Target's board members because they had a lot of inventory delays. They couldn't understand where products were coming from and how to put them on the aisles. That is a problem that can easily be solved through the blockchain, right? If we consider everything on a shelf as a transaction, we can easily track that a product is, say, in Ireland. It was shipped to New York, and then it's in this facility, and then it's moved to the shelves at Target. Anytime that product's moved, it can be logged, and that log can be available to all of Target. So the blockchain has robust applications, whether it's in supply chains or whether it's in voting. The fact that you can trace things and it's visible to anyone is a very attractive thing that we need to start using.
Very interesting topic, and I think you did a tremendous job in sort of breaking it down into very easily understandable terms. You spoke a lot about the financial risks of crypto, but there's also an angle specifically around these cryptocurrencies and the mining and the sheer amount of resources that they consume, right? The power consumed to mine these is intense. Do you see that as an issue that is being addressed or needs to be addressed as the popularity of this increases?
Yes, and I think that ties in with regulation. So when we look at ESG has become an increasingly prominent topic. Companies are beginning to release sustainability reports, whether it pertains to environmental things, social things, and governance aspects. Let's take Tesla as an example, one of the biggest Bitcoin miners. Going through their sustainability report, there's no mention of the emissions that Bitcoin mining creates. So this is a thing that regulators have to start taking more seriously. If the SEC begins to say that we need to regulate Bitcoin mining, you need to disclose that these certain emissions are happening. Once we get the regulators to become more serious about this topic, is when we are going to start seeing these issues be brought up in a more serious manner.